Blog Talk Radio.
Life seems to crush your dreams, so find your balance for all you need. A little work, some family fun. Find your love, keep your life on the run. Told you how the story goes, so write your own script before you grow old. Live your life, laugh out loud. Own who you are, stand up proud. You gotta find what works for you. Find a balance that lets you be you.
Good evening and welcome to the Star Chamber Show live podcast. This is episode number 360 for those of you keeping score. And this is one of your co-hosts, Steven Zimmer, joining you on a wonderful Wednesday evening here in the heart of the Bluegrass. And joining me tonight, I have not just one, but two co-hosts. I have the wonderful, the vivacious, the lovely Holly Phillippe, and joining at the last minute tonight, the one, the only, Metalbeck Harrison. So welcome, my co-hosts. How are you doing tonight?
Very good, very good. How are you?
I am ready to go tonight. It's going to be an awesome show. Very excited to have Metalbeck joining us. Of course, we had the Pelicans are in town. Yes, of course, that is Branson and Bentley and Addison, and they are visiting, and that's so Metalbeck is here with them, and and of course Jordan, and so this is awesome, and so tonight, we have a bonus co-host for you all. It's a big deal there, Holly. A surprise.
It is. Say hello, Metalbeck.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be here tonight.
There she is. There's the voice. I'm used to it, but you all aren't because you haven't gotten to hear her too much yet. But hopefully she'll be able to jump on and do some shows with us from time to time. And it's gonna be fun tonight. We've got just a sensational guest coming up here shortly, and of course we've always got the little bit of news and early stuff in the first segment. I'm giving a shout out all the way to California tonight, listening to the show at the Amazon facility. Is the awesome Poor Pet, Alex Tobias, a friend of mine who is part of the group that supports Mike Gruber's great Only Good channel, which I've mentioned before here. Great channel, financial news and crypto channel. But Poor Pet's working tonight and listening all the way in California. So I want to give him a little shout out. Great guy. A true character. So, I want to give him a spotlight and wish him well and tell him to hang in there. So I know it's not always fun working in Bezos land. But, hey, we'll try to make it more fun tonight. We'll try to make it more fun for you tonight, Poor Pet. But, just a character. So, we got news. I mean, the one issue that we've been covering a lot on the show is, of course, the new thing of publishers essentially rewriting portions of novels, famous things like Roald Dahl, R.L. Stine, Ian Fleming, and again, just found out they're doing it to Agatha Christie novels. So keep your eye on that, folks. That's not a good thing. Definitely.
They're also doing it to the Aristocrats, the Aristocats. I showed you that cartoon that's beloved to so many of us. They're actually wanting to remake it now.
Yeah, I know they're redoing that movie, and they're talking about redoing it. But on the book front, though, I mean, this is definitely a rather recent wave that's been occurring of them announcing rewriting of passages, changing of words, and we've talked about it extensively, but it definitely strikes at the heart of the integrity of an author's work. Definitely being done without their sanction, authors, and I can speak for this very, very clearly, is that we spend a lot of time with word choice. We're very careful about how we, go about approach prose and words, and this is just egregious, and if you don't like something, don't buy it, don't put it on the shelf, don't pull the 1984 thing and rewrite the books. I mean, literally that's one of the big warnings in 1984. Every book was rewritten that was a big warning that George Orwell had, and it's occurring, and that's kind of bothersome. And so, when I heard about this latest Agatha Christie thing, I was not too pleased about it. And also, while on the subject, we talked about social media platforms, and there's definitely a war against TikTok, which resulted in one of the most buffoonish congressional hearings I've ever seen, where you had congressional representatives that clearly knew nothing about technology, clearly weren't ever using the platform, didn't know anything about it. You could tell by their questioning, their comments. I mean, just absolutely. I mean, just out of it when it came to the topic at hand. And I thought I have to admit it, the TikTok CEO held his cool and was very tried to be as dignified as possible, and it was rather embarrassing watching. Yeah, watching that, and in a situation where other platforms are far more egregious in terms of data mining and surveillance and censorship than they are, and yeah, I mean, some people have some strong opinions about this, but they're using it to create this thing called the Restrict Act, which you don't want, folks. It's something that goes way beyond any issue of banning a platform, and actually hands over an egregious amount of authority to the government for surveillance, data mining, and puts it and sneaks in some huge penalties for people that use VPNs or something like that to get around to access a quote unquote banned platform. And so I mean, it's what the Restrict Act is doing is bringing in something that is far worse than anything that even TikTok, the worst critic of TikTok, says about the platform. What the Restrict Act is bringing in is something far worse. It's a Trojan horse piece of legislation. There's no question about it. Read it. You can get copies of it and read it for yourself. But if you read the actual text of the legislation, it's dangerous to anyone that likes free expression and having the ability to choose what you want to do in an online community, and it's just bad. So I have to get on my soapbox. I don't want to go up on too much of one, but I do encourage everyone listening to look into what the Restrict Act is, what it actually does, and of course it's behind the veil of banning TikTok, but it's something much worse. And I encourage you to do your own research. Don't take my word for it. But look up the legislation, and it is just horrific what kind of
well, they can literally get rid of all social media. All social media.
Anybody they want.
It would change the marketing for so many people. And what if there's another pandemic? What are people supposed to do? And there's going to be more. There's going to be another pandemic down the road. And you see how we handled the first wasn't too good. So, and the only thing we had was social media to keep us on contact and do live feeds and, actually be in communication with each other. That's all we had.
Right. So if a platform like Minds or say Gab or one of the ones that are smaller but more less censorship driven or something like that, if they got people talking against the official government narrative, conceivably under the Restrict Act, they could actually cancel the entire platform just outright. And they have even like things in there that it can't be judicially reviewed. So they're trying to make it so you can't even contest it, and it's awful. And if you read the actual text of the legislation, it's just got some really bad stuff in it, and it would be horrible, in terms of censorship and all kinds of things. And I think it's something everybody needs to look into. But for those of us that are creatives and working on social media platforms, we choose the ones we want to work with and which ones we want to avoid, and we'll get the facts on what risks we want to take in using a certain platform or not, and that's up to us. It's not up to as I call it, Mordor on the Potomac, Washington D.C. But it's just not too good, and it's just I won't get off my soapbox. We'll take a little more positive bet here but yeah, definitely look into it. It's serious and it affects all creatives. But yeah, we'll look into both what's going on in publishing with the rewriting of books with this new edition of Agatha Christie joining, like I said, Roald Dahl, Ian Fleming, and R.L. Stein and others. It just keeps getting worse there. And then this Restrict Act, which is definitely a Trojan horse piece of legislation that's not good for creatives in the long run. But on the Imaginarium front, we actually do have good news, as we tend to every week. And we've added some new programming. Holly's been real hard at work on adding new programming, confirming it, getting it signed, sealed, delivered, and I've gotten it up on the site. So we've got some new panels and workshops. We have a new spotlighted guest, and that's not enough. We have 4 new panelists. So we've added, some new workshops, including How to Write Funny, presenter Virginia Smith, Stories That Sparkle, presenter Virginia Smith, Writing Serial Fiction, presenter S. Cinders, Crafting Cross-Genre Fiction, presenter Sarah Marion, Build out your book, make your promotion uniquely yours by utilizing alternative materials. Presenter Anna Maria Savaggio. Psychic Development for Writers. Presenter Lorena Peter. Game Design, Where Do I Start? Presenter Brent Campbell. How to Turn Your Comic into a Film. Presenter Demetrius Witherspoon. Yes, he of the Submerged Universe. And then the Art of the Audio Drama, presenter Michael Ignacio Jr. I'm really excited to meet Michael this summer. It's going to be a fantastic guest. Yes. Yeah. New panels. We mentioned Michael last week. We announced. I think we announced him last Friday. Perceptions on the new panels added. They include Perceptions of Madness, Mental Institutions in Film, Books, and Reality. Moderator James Sabata. You, the writer, moderator Michael J. Allen, and So You Want to Be an Author, Why? Moderator Michael J. Allen. So that's a lot of new programming that's been added for Imaginarium 2023. And then we also, like I said, we also have, the Michael Ignacio Jr. We announced with Henry Vogel and Linda Robertson Reinhardt were new panelists announced. And then just today, we announced Lorena Peter, Christopher Woods, William S. Frisbee, and Sean Sorsay as panelists. And 2 of them are brand new faces. They're in that group of 4, and 2 are definitely ones we love and they're welcoming back. And it's a great balance between faces you know and people you haven't seen yet. And another face you haven't seen yet is that of Stephanie Hansen, who we announced as a spotlighted guest, and she is a literary agent and also a best-selling, award-winning author. I mean, she has brokered deals with small presses, mid-sized publishers, and major publishing houses and foreign publishers, with audio producers, gaming app companies, reading app companies, and film producers. And so she's done all kinds of deals with literary agents. There's definitely one you want to pick her brain on the panels that she is on at Imaginarium this summer. She knows all about selling books because her debut novella series, Altered Helix, hit #1 new release, #1 bestseller, and a number of other top 100 lists on Amazon. Is currently being adapted for an animated release. So, yeah, just an absolutely superb spotlighted guest that we just announced. And it's exciting times, Holly. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on here.
It is.
Yeah, it's you know it is. It's like Pete Catania was like, yeah, he says, this is really a year-round thing, isn't it, Stephen? He was talking to me in the
Every
chat.
day of my life.
I was like, definitely, and then some. It's like
every day of my life.
But that's all new, folks, and that was just in like the last week, just last few days, and so you could tell about how much content is pouring into this. So, but let me before I don't want to drive this too late. We had a lot of announcements, and I definitely wanted to address the Restrict Act, and then that ongoing saga of books being rewritten. Very important stuff, but we do want to recognize our awesome folks that brought you tonight's show. And, of course, that is tonight. We have Sandy Lender, the one and only genre blender. And then in addition, we have the amazing Ren Garcia. So tonight we'll kick it off with Ren. We'll answer his question, and then we'll give you a little bit about Sandy. So here's Ren.
The League of Elder dares to be unusual. It's easy to be swept away in this bold and uninhibited landscape where fantastic heroes become old friends and sinister villains inhabit every dark corner. Dare to explore things best left alone. Each book is your lantern, lighting the path to a world never before seen. So what do you say? Are you weird enough for us?
Yes. Yes, Ren, we are. So, got to answer that question every time we play that spot because, and folks, keep the pressure up on Ren. Make sure he gets out to our 10th anniversary next year. But now we'll go over to Sandy real quick, and then we're going to bring on our guest of the evening. And so here is Sandy. Pay attention, folks, because she's got some great stuff.
Author Sandy Lender invites you to visit her website at authorSandyLender.com to pick out a new favorite story to read this spring. You're sure to find a strong young lady, a clever vampire, a self-assured fairy, or a fabulous dragon to join on a new journey. Start your next adventure at AuthorSandyLender.com and make some new quest friends. Welcome to Sandy's various fantasy worlds, where some days you just want the dragon to win.
Thank you, Sandy, and definitely, folks, pick up some Sandy Lender titles. I can definitely vouch for the high quality of the writing. Excellent storyteller, and do drop her a note and tell her thank you for her always being so supportive of the Star Chamber show. So without further ado, I'm going to go into tonight's guest, and I am excited about this. She is awesome, to use just one word. But yes, she's an award-winning, best-selling author who writes in a variety of styles ranging from lighthearted relationship stories to breath-snatching suspense. She has over 50 novels, 2 illustrated children's books, and an assortment of articles and short stories to her credit. She also will be representing the Conference of Writers, a great event for writers taking place April 29th in Frankfort, Kentucky. And as if that is not enough, she also represents the legendary World Fantasy Convention this year taking place in Kansas City. So without further ado, I proudly welcome aboard. It's my honor to bring you the amazing Virginia Smith. Hi, Jenny. Your mic is on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. I'm really excited, and what an introduction! Awesome. Thank you.
We try to give when I say grand introduction, we try to deliver. We may not have the biggest budget, but yes, we but we do deliver that.
We spare no expense.
Yes.
And there you are, Holly. It's so good to hear both of you. I love being here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, and you've got a third joining us at the last minute. It's the amazing Beck Harrison, and she's got a book blogger and a true bibliophile, and she's sitting in with Holly tonight and myself.
And she's the mother of my oldest grandchildren.
Yes.
Oh,
and she is
how exciting. I'm so excited. Yeah. I get to talk to 3 awesome people. Awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, you do.
Love it.
Fun night. A very fun night.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
And thankfully it's a calm weather tonight because I hear we're about to get more fun weather this weekend after getting knocked out of power for a week before. You remember how much fun we had, Jenny, on that one.
I did. I offered you my guest room.
Yes.
I offered you my shower, but your electricity came back on before you had to take me up on that. But I would have loved hosting you guys. So.
Yes.
Whatever.
You have
we'd
magical...
have been knocking on your door, looking very pitiful and probably smelling very badly at this point.
Anytime.
Yeah.
I think it was your magic powers. I think it was your invitation that got power on 2 days earlier than they projected. Something about that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah.
There's no explanation because they were so vague and they were like saying, no, it's not going to be on for a couple more days at the earliest.
So,
even the tech guy.
Do you think Do you think the Cosmos did not want you to come to my house? Is that what you're saying? Honestly,
no.
It's not bad. Not a bad place.
I think that's where he's flying. Is that what you're flying, Zimmer?
No, you secretly sprinkled your magic fairy dust into the air when you heard from us and made it possible to go back home.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yes,
yes.
Holly, I was protecting my wine cellars. That's what it was.
Yes. Oh, you would have to if you have Ollie around.
I'm hitting that up. I gotta tell you, my husband is a winemaker, and we have a pretty extensive wine cellar, which our guests are welcome to browse at ease. There you go. Yeah. Now she's coming. Now she's coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
That's not the thing to tell Holly.
I'm come now.
As soon as the show's over, Holly will be heading your way.
Come on. Yeah.
But it is great to visit with you tonight, and amazingly, you just completed a book the day before the show here, from what I understand.
Oh my God.
Right on the...
You guys. Okay, so I have been working on this book for weeks, and I finished it at like 11 o'clock last night because it has been one of the most difficult books I've ever written, and I really am not sure why. It might be the setting, which was, ancient Israel, and it might be the time period, which was 1200 BC. All of those took a lot of research because I am a fanatic about research. But it might also be that I have taxes due, and my husband keeps saying, "When are you going to give me your tax information?" And it's like I can't think about it, but I wrote the end last night, and today I've been reading it over before I send it to my editors. And honestly, you guys, it's pretty darn good. It really is. So,
well, can we have a synopsis, a snippet, a little taste of what we're going to be looking, out for?
Okay. Yes, absolutely. This book, it like I said, it's my 53rd novel, and I was contacted by Guideposts Books, which is a Christian publisher, and asked if I would write the story of Deborah, who was the fourth prophet in 1200 BC for the Israelite people after they had conquered the Promised Land. And the cool thing about this story is she was, number one, a female judge, which was pretty amazing, and then she was also the one who found the leader of the Israelite army and led them in a battle against the Canaanites in 1200 BC. You guys, it was like so amazing because you read the Bible references and you get like a little bit of detail here and there, but I am a firm believer in research, and I researched all of the physical places, and I see modern day pictures of where the battle took place on Mount Tabor in Israel. And oh my gosh, it is like the battle came alive. And I told my husband earlier today, oh my gosh, I've never written a battle scene like this. But it was like the strategy came alive. Canaanites had they had 40,000 armed troops, and they had 900 ironclad chariots going against 10,000 Israelites who were camped on a mountain. And the Israelites camped on a mountain on purpose, because what happens when a horse who is drawing a really heavy iron chariot tries to climb a mountain? Wow, they struggle. And then all the people behind them crash into them. It was like the most amazing battle scene you've ever seen, and it came alive in my mind, and I was able to write it. So I'm so excited for this book, which probably won't come out till next year, but, I'm going to be talking about it until then. It is so cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah, that sounds right up my alley. I mean, I love ancient world settings.
About the research.
Yeah, and ancient Israel is one of the passions of mine, and I love it. I love it.
It is like the ancient Israel, the 1200 BC. I really, as I said, I am a fanatic about research, but what comes alive is, when you look at the weapons that they had or did not have. You look at all of the
technology they didn't have.
Exactly, that they did not have. And you look at even day-to-day things like, what did they call, the stove that they cooked on? What were their houses like? What, how did she gain these people? How did she communicate with, Deborah was in the lower part of Ephraim, which is, way to the south, and Barak was way up north, in the northern territories of Israel. How did they communicate? There's a lot of fiction that goes into it because you have to imagine it. But, oh, my gosh, it was so amazing. I just loved it. I love doing it. It's going to be an amazing story. It really is.
Well, Holly, I know Holly's laughing because she always sees these Amazon packages arriving with some obscure book. Obscure book that's about some ancient culture's weaponry or some ancient culture's daily, culture life kind of history.
If you ever need reference books, the library of Zimmer has them. I'll guarantee you.
Yeah,
the library of Zimmer. There you go.
I love that stuff.
I have a book that one of the guys in my writers group, Bluegrass Writers Coalition, gave me, and it's called The Manners and Customs of Bible Times. And honestly, I really, this is only like the third book I've written, biblical fiction I've written. But this book, I'm telling you, I look through this thing and I think I could make a career out of writing biblical fiction from this. It is amazing. It is truly amazing. It really is. And you know what? I'm a fantasy fanatic, but you talk about the miracles that happened back then, and this is fantasy, guys. This is modern day fantasy that probably may not even be fantasy, but it's accepted that way. And oh my gosh, it's just so exciting. It sends chills. Yeah. It really does.
This is what I've got to buy because, you've already got me sold on this. Sounds like amazing historical fiction. It's got a great protagonist, a great time period. And an underdog story. Because you're right. They were heavily outnumbered, and the Canaanites were not wimps. They were very tough and tough people.
Yeah,
and
plus all the chariots. Amazing. It was really amazing to read about, to research, and to figure out. Really, I looked at these pictures, which is modern day. The valley and then this big mount that really does look like a bowl turned upside down in the middle of a flat plain, and thought, oh my gosh, that's how they came up. That's where they. It was amazing. It is amazing. It's amazing to picture and to write about. I loved it. Anyway.
Yeah,
that's probably a year.
Holly will be over to explore the wines of the ancient world with you.
Okay, that really helps in the writing. It really does.
Yes. That is awesome. Because you just finished another one, I believe, in was it December? If I'm right, you had another book you just finished around December. So didn't you? You are on a roll. Yeah, you are on a roll. So, hello?
Did we lose her?
We may have. Yes, I know. I see her on the soundboard.
I'm here.
There she is.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. There she is.
I think I pressed mute. I didn't mean to. But honestly, it's been a really exciting year. It's been. I've had a ton of books due, and honestly, I had said, I told my agent several months ago when I finished this book, and I have one more that is due after this one, which is a third cozy mystery set in Ireland. And I I love this series, and this is the third in the series, but it is due at the end of April, believe it or not. And I finished this last one, and I told my agent that I'm not going to write anymore for the rest of the year. I'm just going to take a break and say, think about what I want to do. Except there's one book that I would really like to write, and if I get a contract for that one, then I'll write that one. But other than that, I'm gonna take a hiatus. I'm just taking off. And guess what? I got a contract for that book. Oh, so I'm so excited. I just turned this one in. I have another one due at the end of April, and then I got a contract for really a super cool book that is due at the end of September. And after that, I really am going to take a break. I swear I am.
That's what you say. That's what you say.
That's what I say now until the best contract in the world comes along. So.
Yeah, then some character will start talking in your head, or some setting will appeal to you, and next thing you know, you'll be off and running again. Yeah. I know how this goes.
There you go.
It's tough.
Honestly, really, to be honest, seriously, I have written so many books. Publishers keep contacting me and saying, we want you to write this book and this book and this book, and they keep giving me contracts, which I am very aware that a lot of writers, I'm in a position that a lot of writers want to be in, but after a while, you start to think, I would really like to write a book that I want to write instead of what somebody is contracting. And I really am looking forward to that. I really, at the end of this year, the last several months, and who knows how long, I really do just want to write a book that is in my heart. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, money is a big deal, and I love it when publishers say, "Hey, would you write this book and let me pay you money?" And I'm like, "Heck yeah, I like money." But on the other hand, money is not really all of why we write. Is it, Stephen? Is it? You're a writer. Do you write?
It's a great thing,
or do you love your story?
Don't write for money.
I love my stories. I mean, it's just that's in my blood.
Exactly.
But, it's part of me. Yeah.
That's right. And
but you're in a position where you have written for different sizes of publishers, and you're not. I think you could pick the project that might appeal to what you're feeling at the time. So hopefully that giving a little time to do that, you'll pick something that you get to write for, that's just in line with something that you got the itch for. I hope that happens.
Right.
Yes. That's what I hope. That's what I'm hoping for. So we'll see. I do realize, honestly, it sounds really trite to say that, but I really do realize that I'm in a position that a lot of aspiring writers would love to be in. But I also have an advantage, and I have a husband who supports me. I call him my patron of the arts because he really supports me in my efforts to write. So, and not a lot of people have that. So I know I'm blessed. I know I'm lucky. So
yep.
We'll
I can echo that. So. Yeah, I got Holly's support in my craziness. So, I
know she does.
Completely.
I know she does. Yeah.
But now now you have this is, like you said, your 53rd novel. So and I'm curious about this. What is the Jenny Smith process? Do you have a routine for writing, or do you or not? I mean, a lot of writers have so much variance in their process. What is yours?
They do.
Like?
They do, yeah, and I'm very aware. I've taught workshops on different processes, but it's funny. I am definitely a plotter. There's two approaches to writing that most writers will either ascribe to one or the other, and one of them is seat of the pants. They just sit down and they write, and the story unfolds. And then there's the plotters like me, and like, by the way, Brandon Sanderson. Brandon Sanderson is a plotter, who sit down and come up with a story and characters, and then literally outline, every single scene that's going to happen between the time they start and the end. And I would say I'm a hybrid, because sometimes, depending on the books, and especially this last one about Deborah, the judge, I start out not knowing what the plot's going to be. And I start out just trying to get to know the character as a reader would get to know the character. And then you kind of write the first few scenes, but there eventually will come a time, and I think this happens in every single writer's experience, there comes a time when you get to the end of what you know, and you know how it's going to end. But what do you do between here and the end? And it's like that sagging middle. It's like that, what the heck? I know how it's going to, I even know a few scenes in between, but what's going to happen to get my character from chapter 4 to chapter 25? And at that point is when, even from the beginning, that's when I stop. And I have to lay out the scenes that I have in my mind. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen, and blah blah blah. And it's really interesting, because at that point, when I have a plot, when I open my computer in the morning, I know exactly what I'm going to write that day. There's no searching around and sitting there at the empty screen with the blinking cursor. I literally know what I'm going to write. And it might not be perfect words when I first put them out there, but it moves the plot. And that helps me. So I really am a plotter. I got to say, in mysteries, which, the majority of my books have been mysteries or suspense or cozy mysteries, and the majority of them, I literally might write one chapter, but every single one of them, I don't know how you could write a mystery without knowing the end and knowing how you're going to lay out the plot and lay out the clues. So I don't know how you write a mystery without a plot. So I'm a plotter. Absolutely am a plotter. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well, looking through your titles, I mean, you've written, in a lot of genres, and I've seen a lot of variety in your stories.
Yeah.
So my question for you is this: and it kind of leans toward your future things that you would entertain for writing for yourself. Are there any genres that you have not yet written and that you're kind of tempted to try out? And I'm curious.
I got to tell you, Stephen, I love fantasy. I really do. And that has really, from the early in my even reading life, I love fantasy. I really do. And I love science fiction and fantasy, but I kind of lean toward fantasy. And I have written several fantasy. I've written I got one novel that was a biblical kind of science fiction fantasy twist. It got me an agent, but we were never able to sell it because every publisher said, "Oh my gosh, how do we market this thing?" Because it was such a blend of genres. But it was, kind of my heart, and then because it was like a blend of science fiction and fantasy and miracles and things that I love. But I really, honestly, then I self-published a novel that I'm so proud of called Sister of the Brotherhood, that is totally a fantasy epic journey. And then I have published, sold a couple of short stories that are like fantasy adventure stories. I love that genre. Apparently, I am better at, cozy mysteries and biblical fiction and contemporary fiction because that's what's paid me. But if I had my druthers, I would love to write, my opus, my heart's expression in an epic fantasy novel, I would love it. I love that genre. I do. I just apparently am not very good at it. I don't know.
Well, I don't know about that. You're an exceptional writer, but as far as the one you mentioned that you weren't able to sell at the time, I've noticed that the market has been getting a lot friendlier to cross-genre fiction. I mean, in just the last few years. I mean, it's definitely changed, and mishmashes and cross-genres becoming popular. You're seeing more TV shows that are true cross-genre, Netflix and Hulu or whatnot. But yeah, it seems like there is a surge in cross-genre interest, so that might be something you revisit at some point, and because you got it.
Not that book. I got to tell you, that book, that book, honestly, it was called The Days of Noah, and I ended up self-publishing it, and really it's been very well received. But it is a biblical. Okay, so. Honestly, yes, I see what you're saying, Stephen. The market is opened up to cross-genre, especially, fantasy and science fiction with mystery and with, characterization and so on. But this book, honestly, God, I love it. I love this book. It was like, one of my first passions. But the genres are so blended. And it's pretty weird, honestly. And I agree with you that the genres are blending, and we're seeing a market for blended genres. But this one, honestly, very, very basic, biblical, like pre-Noah kind of biblical, plus God's miracles, plus paganism, plus science fiction. Yeah.
Oh, you've sold me.
Sure
you've sold me.
For that.
You've sold me.
I will give you a copy. I want to read it.
I'll buy it. I will buy it. I'm going to get a link from you. I'm going to get. You said I'm going to get the sales link, and I'm going to buy this because right up my alley. And you said the pre-flood Lord, man. Holly will tell you, I have a passion for lore of the Nephilim and things like that.
Oh my God! Yes. Oh my gosh,
that's my heart. I love this stuff. Yes, I love it. I got so much reference material on the topic. I love it. And
I love it.
Yeah, okay. So
good. Yeah.
Now you can say the start.
We should collaborate. Maybe we should collaborate on a new one that actually reaches the market instead of like mine that is just kind of slipped beneath everybody.
Well, he has so much research on the Nephilim.
Yeah, I love that topic. But it's that's now you can say that the Star Chamber show, in fact, increases your sales because I'm going to buy that book.
There you go.
Working on it right now.
It's called The Days of Noah by. Honestly, it's by Virginia Smith. But since it was really funny because I released that book after I had published 10 or 12, I guess, traditionally published books that were very either contemporary or Christian mystery or whatever. And my readers, oh my gosh, several of them were like, what the heck is this? Mm-hmm. And I got this really irate email from a reader who was a faithful reader of mine. She loved all my books, and she said, I'm sorry. This is not your book. You cannot have written this book. But so it actually, from that point on, my science fiction and fantasy, I actually published under a pen name because not that I'm hiding. It's just that it's so different from my regular books that I know it has such a niche audience that, my regular readers probably is. It's funny. Yeah. Science fiction readers
a different brand.
And fantasy readers, science fiction and fantasy will read mysteries, but mystery readers will not read science fiction and fantasy. I learned that.
Right.
Yeah,
it's a different brand. It's a very different brand. You have to put it under a different banner. Yep. And we've talked about that on the show before, and it's something that you have to do sometimes. Good. Yeah, it's something you have to do. Yeah, especially if it's very, very different. And a lot of children's book authors have to do that because they might write romance novels on one end and then children's books. And so, obviously they have to use two different names. Right. Right.
I get it. Yeah.
So it's a necessity at times, and I totally understand. But that's really cool, and wow, I mean, if you're going to get the whole collection of your books now, it takes up quite a shelf. So definitely.
It takes up quite a shelf on my shelf, really.
That is so neat. Yeah, and but this one I was not aware of. I have to say, I apologize. I didn't know about this particular book, and so
look at the Days of Noah. Stephen, I think you'll like it. Holly will love it.
Oh yes, she will. Well, she hears me babbling about the Nephilim all the time, so she's right up her alley. But I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I love that, and I love the fact that you take on different projects and that you do self-publish, because it's okay to be and that's a good message for to hear from somebody like you that has agents that does contracted novels and things. That you are, you are a hybrid author, and that you will do something on a self-published level or independent level, as well as a major house, and it's okay to
absolutely, It is
good,
totally okay, it's getting more and more acceptable in professional publications and professional arenas. I gotta say, most of my traditionally published books make a lot more money than my self-published books. That's just the way it is. So that's where I focus my efforts. But I'm telling you, my self-published books have a different audience, and I'm very satisfied with the income they bring. And I don't know. I love the ability to have control over every aspect of the publishing process. The cover, the editing, the formatting. I love that. It's different. It is different, and really, I really have looked at that very seriously in my career, and most of my money is made through traditional publishing. It's just a fact. It's the way it is. But a lot of my creativity is expressed through my self-published works. So it's equally rewarding. It really is. I mean that seriously. It's equally rewarding, and I love being a hybrid author.
Well, my view on that is that the major houses have to, when they are releasing something, they want to know how to package it exactly. They want to know that there's a market for it, definitely. And so that's kind of the calculus that they have. Whereas an independent press or self-published situation, there's more of a room for risk taking. You can try something that you may fall flat in your face with, or maybe work out. but you're going to see a higher degree of chances being taken in those spheres, I think, than somebody that has to definitely calculate for sales. And that's I definitely think that's
absolutely
So what books do you want to emphasize? Because you've got a great catalog, and as far as like current releases, anything that you want to emphasize for right now for people picking up to try some of your work out, what would you put forward?
Oh my gosh, it so depends on we all have different preferences as readers. And really, honestly, my agent has told me multiple times, would you just settle on a genre? That way we could brand you. But I really, I think my brand is really likable and relatable characters, no matter the genre. And so really it depends on what people like to read. I recently got, just today, in fact, got an email from a reader who said, I just read all 3 of your Cozy Mystery series, which is the oh my gosh, my mind has gone blank, which is, it's set in multiple areas, and it's a prime suspect, the prime suspect series. And there are 3 books in that series, and one of them is in Atlanta, one of them is in Las Vegas, one of them is set in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they're really like modern day, but very much cozy mysteries and suspense. And she loved it. And I'm like, well, thank you very much. It was several years ago that I released those, but the Prime Suspect series is one of my best, I think. And then I've got this series that honestly every couple of days I get an email from someone saying, I love the Goose Creek series. The Goose Creek series actually originated several years ago when my publisher, Harvest House, Christian Publishing, I'd written 4 or 5 books for them, I can't remember, and they contacted me and they said, we would like to do a series that is not, it's clean, but not really, doesn't have a Christian message, but we wanted to be able to market it to, Walmart and broad scale readers, and we wanted to be kind of, small town and lots of humor and lots of like knowledge, like Jan Karen's Mitford series. And do you think you could do it? So I sent in, a sample chapter, which I was like, I love this. I hope they do it. And they went for it. And so I launched a series from Harvest House Publishers called the Goose Creek Bed and Breakfast series. And it is set, actually, it's totally different from anything else. It's not science fiction. It's not fantasy. It's not mystery. It's really just hometown humor, and it kind of like Jan Karen's Mitford series, and it takes place in a town that is called Goose Creek, but really it is Midway, Kentucky, which literally is 7 miles from my home. I love Midway. It's like this small town, and right around the town that is set around a railroad that runs through the middle of the town, and this middle-aged couple who, I kind of say, that's me, I'm middle-aged, I really am, and they, the husband is looking toward retirement, and the wife wants to open a bed and breakfast in their retirement, and he's like, what the heck are you talking about? No, we're going to retire. And who are you? Is this woman? And she's like, what the heck are you talking about? I don't want to just sit around and do nothing. Who is this man? And they have like a little minor crisis in marriage, but it takes place around this small town. And I really do, Stephen, honestly, I poke a lot of fun at small town Kentuckians because I'm one. I am one. I live 7 miles from Midway. I can do that, and okay, so when the first book came out, when there was 5 books in the series, when the first book came out, my neighbor who lives across the street from me, she read it and she called me and she says, oh my gosh, I was on a plane with my husband flying to see our kids in Dallas, and I was reading your book and I was laughing so hard everybody was staring at me. And my husband said, what are you laughing at? And she said, I think Jimmy has been peeking in our windows. It really is. It's small town. It's husband and wife relationships after 20 years of marriage or 30 years of marriage. It really honestly, when the first book in the series, there's 5 books in the series. When the first book came out, Library Journal, national publication, gave it a starred review and had it their pick of the week. It was, they loved it, and really, it has been amazing. I said after that, I could totally make my career writing Goose Creek. I absolutely could.
Yeah.
But
fun.
you know,
yeah.
it hasn't worked out that way. But I love it. 5 books later, I still get people saying, "Give me more Goose Creek. I want more Goose Creek."
Nice. Yeah, and I have a lot of experience, obviously, with small town Kentucky settings. So that would be right up my alley too. And that's awesome. And so, folks, go out and pick some of these up, folks, because let me tell you, she can write a good tale. So absolutely. And
thank you.
Yeah, and what is on the release quickly before we go into another topic? What is the release schedule for you this year as far as new 2023 releases? If you have anything on the map on that.
Okay, so I'm kind of reluctant to say that I've written a series for a book club called Annie's Publishing, and I love working for them. This is like my 8th, 9th, and 10th books, and they're a book club, direct to consumer publisher, and they release book club books, and they hired me to do a series based in Ireland, which honestly, my maiden name is Patrick. I am a proud Irish American. Absolutely. Yeah. Right?
That's a bulk of my mother's heritage. I know all about it.
There you go.
The bulk of my mother's heritage.
Right.
And I've been there. I have been to Ireland. So
I am a proud Irish American. So they hired me to write a 3-book series, and it is a cozy mystery series set in Ireland in a small town called Blarney, which is right outside Blarney Castle, which is a real place in Ireland. So I've written and I mentioned earlier that I just finished Deborah's story, and I have another one to write. It's the 3rd in the Irish series. So I will write the conclusion of the Irish series in the next month. But
nice.
That was supposed to come out this year. And when I turned in the 2nd book, I got an email from my publisher saying, okay, we've had a delay, and the 1st book is not coming out till August of 24. So that was the book. That was the one I was planning to be able to really publicize this year. And it turns out I'm not going to have a book this year. It'll be next year, which is okay.
All right.
Because, as I said, I really want to take a break and so on. But when next year comes out, it will be August, and then 2 months later, it will be the 2nd one, which I got to tell you, oh, my gosh, Stephen, the 2nd book, we haven't even talked about this, but I'm on the board of the World Fantasy Convention. And so when I was writing the 2nd book, I was in the depths of planning the 2022 World Fantasy Convention, and I wrote the book about a science fiction convention that happens place in Ireland. And so I did that, and they loved it. They loved it. So that will be the 2nd book. And then the 3rd book, which I have yet to write, will come out, sometime the following year. So this year, to answer your question, I have no books coming out this year, and I'm devastated.
Gotcha.
Next year, I will have at least 2, maybe 3. No, who knows?
Well,
let's talk about World Fantasy. Let's talk about science fiction and fantasy.
We will.
Oh,
but if you need a good but if you need a comedy scene for your Irish novels, I'll have to tell you about my adventure trying to kiss the Blarney Stone, because I hate heights, and it really gets to me. And I got up there and found out that you have to lean over this big gap, and they have somebody that holds you.
I want to hear it. Yes,
I'll have to tell you that story sometime. But it was very it was very comedic, but I did live through it, as you might guess. But yes, the World Fantasy Convention, Kansas City this year, And you just put on one last year in New Orleans. So this travels to different cities. Logistics are amazing because you go to a different city every year, and that's a task in itself. But you tell us about your involvement with the convention and what's coming up, because it's awesome.
When I started with the World Fantasy Convention, it was years ago, and I'll be honest, I'm not a science fiction fantasy convention goer. I really, and that's just is not my thing. But years ago, I was attracted to World Fantasy because of the professionalism of that, annual convention and that organization. And I got involved in, long story short, which we don't have time for. I'm now on the executive committee of the board of directors of World Fantasy, and I ran the convention in 2022, which honestly was totally unexpected. It was 2022. What do we know about that? It was the year of COVID. And I was totally, planned and, on track to run a physical convention, and then COVID happened, and I ended up running the first online World Fantasy Convention of the entire convention's history, and it was hugely successful. Not really well. Partly because of my team, very much because of my team, who, they worked hard. But really it was because that was all we had. That was all anybody had in 2020. And we did a fantastic job. It was freaking amazing. It was really the most amazing online convention that had been produced so far in 2020, and I had multiple people tell me that. And as a result, I was asked to be on the executive committee of the board of directors for World Fantasy. And I got to tell you, I love that organization. I do. I love the professionalism. I love it's weird. They have a reputation of being exclusive. I love that. It is not a fan con. It sets itself apart, and I am thrilled to serve on the executive committee of that board. So I ran that 2020 convention, and then last year, as a member of the executive committee, we had a it goes around year to year in a different location and run by different people. And last year's, in 2020, it was run by a group out of New Orleans, and they asked me if I would be involved, and they were, kind of under the gun at that point. And it was a last minute, let's regroup and figure out what we can do. And so I agreed, and honestly, it was so awesome. It was an amazing convention in New Orleans, the World Fantasy Convention in New Orleans in November of 2022. So I'm now on the board, and this year's is, like you said, in Kansas City, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be able to just serve on the board and promote this convention and promote this incredible family of fantasy writers and publishers and agents and all the people that come to World Fantasy Convention. I love the organization. I'm not really, Stephen, I've never been to a World Con. I do not do fan cons. That's not it. It's World Fantasy is a professional convention that appeals to me, and I love it, and I love it, and I'm proud to be a part of it, really.
spectacular convention, and I love the different city every year concept. So running a convention myself, that just makes me go, oh my God, having to logistically set up in a different city every year.
Honestly, Stephen,
that's awesome.
Stephen, I really, really would love to see World Fantasy come to Kentucky, and you and Holly are amazing. You would do a fabulous job. I really look to that in the future. I really do.
Absolutely, and it's going to be great. And I tell people, check it out. It's worth every cent of attending. It's definitely a chance to deal with the industry, the people that really are into the craft of writing, and definitely go to it. It's in Kansas City this year, the World Fantasy Convention. But that's not all. And for Jenny, because let me tell you, she is part of she was at the foundation of a great conference that I actually was able to attend last year, and I'm so glad to be a part of it last year, and then to have the honor of being a part of it this year. But coming up this coming month, April 29th in Frankfort, Kentucky, we got the Conference of Writers, and I mean, you've got some great folks like Kentucky Poet Laureate Frank X. Walker. You got a marketing PR wizard, Stephanie Fager, and you've got just people like Richard Taylor and Stephen Vest, who I just adore him. I just think he's wonderful. Chris Helvey, Deborah Eisen, Shannon McRoberts, who's just amazing. I mean, you've got some great people lined up for this event coming up in April, and it's a one-day event, so it's definitely something that people can easily do. And so tell us about this year's Conference of Writers, second annual.
Oh my gosh, Stephen! Well, first of all, I am so excited that you are going to be there, because really,
I'm excited too.
Year, oh gosh, I can't even tell you how excited I am. Last year, the Bluegrass Writers Coalition, which is really, it started out a couple of years ago when I moved to Frankfort. By the way, Frankfort is my home, but I moved away for a long time, and then I came back. And Frankfort, Kentucky is my home. That's where I was born. I'm a Kentuckian. And so I found this group of writers, and it was a small group, and we met at a local, restaurant once a month. And me being who I am said, we can do a lot more. And I think maybe to the resistance of some of the founding members, I've kind of, encouraged the group to grow. And we've become really a nonprofit organization, tax-exempt nonprofit organization that really our goal, seriously, is to promote literature across Kentucky. And we've got so many things going on, including, as you mentioned, Stephen, the Conference of Writers. It's going to be this year at April 29th in Frankfort at the Frankfort Country Club, and they're going to cater lunch, which is always awesome. But
yes.
I'm telling you, last year was amazing, was awesome, and this year's going to be even more awesome. But really, it's a gathering of authors that we really, really, not even authors, people who just love literature, people who want, who maybe say, I might have an idea to maybe write something, but really it's like a gathering of people who are like us, who love the written word, who express themselves, and really, and honestly, Stephen, I am so excited that this year you are going to teach a panel, a workshop, a breakout session on science fiction and fantasy writing. I am so excited about that. It's going to be awesome. It really will.
And I'm going to show why speculative fiction can be valuable for those who don't write in those genres and what they can gain from science fiction and fantasy. That's a big goal of mine, because I'm going to show them, why it belongs, and as far as something to help you hone your craft, help all writers hone their craft of all genres.
What an amazing topic. I'm looking forward
to it.
Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Really.
But you've got
really,
such a great group assembled, and attending it was. I'm telling you, folks, the venue is first class. And I mean, she mentioned the catered lunch, which was spectacular. Holly and I were blown away, and I mean, it's just a first class venue. The people are all nice and approachable. The other guests are just all the type of people you want at an event like this. They're willing to answer questions. They're approachable, and they've got major credentials, and such a nice blend too. I mean, you've got people like Stephen Best, great journalist, and then you've got Chris Helby is a novelist, and then you've got somebody like Frank X. Walker and Richard Taylor, great poets, and I mean, you've got such a nice mix of writing and types of writing. I mean, and that gives you a well-rounded day for sure. I mean, bar none. And
exactly.
So
and honestly, Stephanie, I had not met her before, but I've been talking to her, for 6 months or so. Mm-hmm. She is a marketing expert on books, and especially books that people self-publish. And how do you get the word out? How do you market a book? And Stephanie is the expert. And she's taking private, consultations if you register, and for no extra cost. Absolutely, it's part of the conference. It's going to be an amazing gathering. Yeah. And you, Stephen, I'm so excited for your workshop.
I'm going to hold up my end. I will hold up my end of it. I promise. And
awesome. It will.
And of course, you always get the louder than life Holly is part of the package, so she'll be there causing trouble.
Of course. Yes. Yeah, louder than life. I love it, Holly. I love you.
But yes, and folks, the easiest way to direct you is probably to send you to bluegrasswriterscoalition.com and click on the Writers Conference menu choice at the top. That's the easiest way I can direct you. I mean, I can give you the direct URL, but it's bluegrasswriterscoalition.com, and then click on Writers Conference, the menu option at the top, and that'll take you right to the info page where you can look at the events, get your conference tickets, and you can schedule sessions with Stephanie, who Jenny just talked about, and they got advertising opportunities, everything. So check it out, and definitely read through those bios, because Jenny's got some heavyweights coming for sure. I mean, some really good people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Some top tier writers.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so I'm excited about that, and I'm glad you're marching forward with this. I loved our day there last year. That was just too much fun.
So much fun. It was.
Holly,
fun.
Well, Holly, I know you could speak on that. You loved it too. Holly, I think Holly. Oh, there you are. Your mic may have gone off there. But we're just want to get your thoughts on the Bluegrass or on the Writers Conference of Writers last year with the Bluegrass Writers Coalition.
Fun, and usually don't get to actually attend panels and workshops. We never get to because we're running around working, and so we actually got to sit there and do the writing exercises for once. And enjoyed it all, and I was so proud of my poem and got to read it out loud, and it's just so enjoyable, and the people that were there attending were just so nice and eager to learn and had great questions for the panelists, and they actually went around and purchased books, because they were and they were avid readers, and they were so interested in the authors. So not only would they come by and just want to know about the books, but they'd stand and chat with you about you for a while, and just it's down home. It's a Kentucky atmosphere. It's what Kentucky's all about. We're good down home people, and that's who was that's who was there. Yeah, and the food was great. Oh my goodness, the lunch, it was wonderful. I mean, the whole experience.
It's an experience.
I've been for a day. I mean, stay in a nice hotel that night, whatever, make it a night out. But it's terrific time. So much fun.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Thank
so
you.
We will be
Thank
there.
you. I'm so glad to hear that recap because, we worked hard last year and we're going to work equally hard this year to make sure it's an awesome event, really.
Yes. So as you're hearing, folks, she was saying, I'm going to take a break. She used that word break as far as writing is concerned, but Jenny's not taking a break. I mean, she's got a huge, World Fantasy Convention. She's got the Conference of Writers. She's making other live appearances this year. You still fill up your day, even when you're not writing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you stay busy. I mean, we're certainly going to look forward to seeing you again in person in July. That's going to be a lot of fun, and at ours. Holly, come through again, Holly. Cut out there a little bit.
I said we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, we're going to see you in just a few weeks here. Yeah, absolutely. And but see, this is the one where Jenny's wearing the organizer hat, and then we trade places in July. Where she gets to have fun and go to all the events and panels, but we have to wear that organizer hat. So we have to switch roles on these two things.
I really am excited to be. It will be my second Imaginarium conference, and I'm so excited. I really am. I get to talk about humor and polishing our writing. I'm so really excited because those are two of the topics I'm passionate about. I really can't wait for the Imaginarium. It's going to be awesome.
We mentioned at the top of the show, we just announced those on the site, your two workshops, and they look absolutely amazing. It kills me that I have to be administering a conference when you're doing that. Because I'm like, I want to be at those. It's like, I'm like, no.
You will. And honestly, how do you teach a workshop on humor without having people laugh? We are going to laugh. Yes. It is going to be fun. It is going to be funny.
Yeah,
it's going to be
absolutely.
Awesome. They'll love it. Yeah.
And that's something that goes in every genre of writing. So it's a kind of workshop that applies to every type of writer. It's not a specialized area. Yeah, so that's gonna be invaluable. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. So tell us before we continue though about the Conference of Writers and if you want to give info on cost or ticket buying and just how people do that. I gave the website, but if you want to give some data on that, that'd be great.
Okay, so really contact us at the Conference of Writers. It's www.bluegrasswriterscoalition.com, and you'll find all the information you need. But really, it's going to be an amazing conference. We have, as Stephen said earlier, we have Kentucky Poet Laureate Frank X. Walker, who is also, he's a professor at UK. He's amazing. I got to tell you, and don't even bring it up to him, but he and I graduated from the same high school. He was a year behind me, so I know
that's awesome.
Old he is. And in Danville High School. Danville High School. And he's just amazing, and so I know how old he is, so don't bring it up to him, but I'm going to, totally, I got him. But how did I go to school with a future Kentucky Poet Laureate and not know him? Intimately know his poetry, but I remember him as a kid. A year behind me, as we all do when we're, seniors in high school. Anyway, so Frank X. Walker is one of our speakers, and he really is amazing. And Richard Taylor, oh my gosh, he is, I got to say, he's a friend of mine. And he is a member of our Bluegrass Writers Coalition. But, my gosh, he just got, literally yesterday, I think, or the day before, he got named to, inducted into the Kentucky Writers Hall of Fame. Really?
That's awesome.
Really? A Hall of Famer? And he's in my writers group. He is amazing. And guess what? He's going to teach a workout session at our conference on April 29th. Honestly, you don't want to miss it. You do not want to miss it. We have so much more, including Stephen and Stephanie Feger, who is going to, teach us about bookmarking. But, oh, my gosh, we got Richard Taylor and Frank X. And, gosh, you don't want to miss it. Yeah, it's going to be really an amazing conference. It really will be. I hope you'll be.
Deborah Eisen and Shannon McRoberts and Chris Helby. I just love meeting
Debbie,
him.
who is my friend.
Yeah.
And Shannon,
Chris Helby
who is
awesome.
multi-published fantasy author.
Yes,
and
great.
Oh my gosh, and Debbie, and oh my gosh. So one of our headliners is Debbie. Gosh, I can't remember her name. My brain is gone. I'm so sorry. But,
Debbie.
Gosh,
is it Daddy or Daddy?
Oh my gosh, Daddy.
Dadey.
Oh my gosh, Debbie Dadey she has written like 180 books. And she's been my friend for years because we have written together. We have signed together at the Kentucky Book Festival for years and years. And when I invited her, she said, and I said, send me your author's bio. And she sent it and said, she has 180 books published. I'm like, what?
Oh,
I have 53 books published. And you're what? She is amazing. She is an amazing author, and she's going to be teaching at a conference. Please come. You just can't. Even if you're not actively writing, you are going to get so much out of our amazing presenters. Really. Please come.
Yeah, Debbie, I can win Holly over right now with her because her first children's book was titled Vampires Don't Wear Polka Dots. So already Holly likes her now.
Yeah. She has done really. She's gonna present a workshop on writing a compelling series. How do you write a series that keeps people reading from book to book to book? I'm so amazed and tranced by her writing. It's just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks fantastic. And then I also want to give a shout out to Shannon McRoberts because she is one of the finalists this year for an Imagine Award. She made the finals.
Gosh, she is. I'm so excited for her. I really am.
Yeah.
She's going to win.
Yeah.
I'm sure the other finalists are amazingly awesome. But I'm telling you, I know Shannon's work. She's my friend, and I know her work. And oh my gosh, it's amazing. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful writer. She really is.
And then you have Shonda Vino. I mean, who's the other one I wanted to mention too? She's
Shonda
a great guest.
Shonda is the managing editor of the State Journal, which is Frankfort's.
Absolutely.
Their newspaper, and Shonda is awesome. It was really funny because Shonda was supposed to be on our panel of professionals last year, and she got sick, and she totally forgot that she had committed to that, so she missed the day. I'm so excited to have her participate this year. She's going to be amazing. It'll be awesome. Yeah. Great group and definitely looking forward to it. But we're coming up at about, let's see, a little over 6 minutes left in the show. So is there anything that's coming up this year event-wise or other that you wanted to make sure to spotlight on your visit here with us that we may not have covered yet? I want to make sure we cover everything. If there's anything that we have talked about so much. We've talked about so much. We have. We really have. My projective for the rest of the year is, I have a I have the last book in the Irish Mystery series. It's really cool, and it's set in Ireland, obviously, and it's a cozy mystery series. And the last of 3 that I'm writing, I haven't written yet, but I have to turn it in to my editor at the end of April. So I have that, and then honestly, you haven't mentioned this, but besides my involvement in the World Fantasy Convention, I actually agreed to be one of the 5 judges of the World Fantasy Award for this year. And honestly, that, Stephen, as you know, is a huge honor for the people who will receive this award. And why the heck did I agree in the midst of, 3 books that I have to write this year? But honestly, Stephen, I love the organization. I love the fantasy genre. And when they asked me, I went back and forth, and I could not refuse, because honestly, I believe in quality fiction in the fantasy genre, and I want to honor that, and I really do. So, when I turn this next book in, my total life for the next few months is devoted to reading, honestly, 300 and more submissions to World Fantasy Convention. So the World Fantasy Awards. Oh my gosh, it's overwhelming, but I'm so honored.
Yep.
I really am honored. And
they picked well.
That's going to be my focus. It will.
Yeah, with your breadth of skill sets as a writer, I mean, you're great. I mean, I couldn't think of a better person to ask to be a judge. I mean, you'll definitely do the job well. I'm not worried about that.
But, thank you. I appreciate that.
But hopefully it'll be a pleasant experience, and you get to enjoy at least some good summer days reading books with maybe a glass of wine, and then it'll be pleasant.
Yes. I love it. Definitely. Yes, that's how I envisioned this from the start.
Yes.
Yeah, let me read with wine. Then I'll be able to tolerate. Yeah. I love it. Thank you.
What's that, Holly?
I do that. I sit on the back deck and have some
wine.
Come at me. Let's read together. And mostly, let's drink wine together. Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Back deck for that.
A little back deck. Yeah, we love doing that. But coming up on 3 minutes here, so I'm going to ask it, where do you want to direct listeners to explore you, your books, your social media, anything platform-wise? Where do you want people to find Virginia Smith so they can follow you and connect with you?
Thank you. Well, my website is www.virginiasmith.org. I really am mostly active on Facebook at Virginia. No, I think I'm Ginny, GINNY .patrick.org. And really, Patrick is my maiden name, which is why I'm so thrilled about the Irish series. And really, just, email me. Stephen will post my email, virginiasmithauthor@gmail.com. And gosh, I'd love to hear from people. I really would. Thank you.
Yep. You are just an amazing person, and we certainly love you, and you've been loved having you at our event. We love being in your events, and definitely support you all the way in World Fantasy Convention. But it's an honor to have you join us tonight. I have loved our visit. Your energy is infectious, and I'm fired up. I'm fired up here late on a Wednesday night now. I got my second win now.
Okay, but Stephen, you have not mentioned that I'm going to be teaching at the Imaginarium this July. Yes. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I'm so excited. I've got
several
sessions to teach.
Yeah, we did cover that. We mentioned that at the outset before you came on about the new workshops we added, and then
covered it again.
Yes, we did. So yeah, don't fear not. We actually did manage to cover that.
I really hope to see everyone really there. It's going to be an awesome experience, and I so look forward to it. Thank you.
You got it. And but you have a great night. I'll let Holly close it out with you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, Virginia. Jenny, this has been absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
Holly?
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
All right, Holly.
All right. We'll let Beck say goodbye. Say goodbye, Beck.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening tonight.
Join us next Wednesday, same time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another great show, another great creative. And remember, finish your week out. Create something wonderful. Good night.